Hey, it's summer vacation time at Star Wars 7x7, and in past years, we've done flashback episodes in various themed capacities, and this time, considering that this is the 10th year of the podcast, and we are on a long countdown to the 10th anniversary, I thought it might be fun to look back at the most popular episodes of all time. So over the next year, we're going to count down from 100 to number 1 as far as the most downloaded episodes of the podcast, and we're going to start with our summer vacation here and do the episodes from 100 to 91. We're moving on to number 95 on the list. This one is from May of 2018, and it's episode 1416, in which I discuss rumors about future Star Wars storytelling, in particular related to Obi-Wan Kenobi, to Lando, and to Han and Chewie. Yeah, so let's do it.
Hey, Rebel Rouser. I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7. So let's talk about the easier of the two to parse as far as these stories go, and that's the fact that Ewan McGregor showed up at the world premiere for Solo: A Star Wars Story, and that opens up two lines of inquiry. First of all, it opens up the question, does Obi-Wan Kenobi have some sort of cameo in Solo: A Star Wars Story? Well, even if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't tell you because, spoilers and all that, but I don't know. And, you just have to assume that maybe there's something going on because he's there. I mean, it's not just, oh, hey, you in town? Come see this world premiere movie. It's not that simple necessarily. It could be, but, probably not. And so the other thing that you start to wonder about is, hey, all these Kenobi movie rumors? Well, is there something more to that now? Well, there are rumors kicking around that there is a plot and a, motion forward on this whole thing, but it was debunked pretty quickly. So TMZ was saying that they got a hold of something, and then somebody posted on Twitter saying, the stuff that they have is pretty much taken directly from the online summary of John Jackson Miller's Kenobi novel on Amazon. So, not such a hot look, TMZ. Sorry. But TMZ has gotten some exclusives in terms of on-set photos that were not published anywhere before, that they got before anybody else got them. So, they're not utterly to be dismissed in terms of sourcing stories like that. And there had been a rumor kicking around last year that the director Stephen Daldry was in talks about an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, but never confirmed, of course, by anyone. And it never will be until it's actually happening, if it's actually happening. That being said, it's certainly not a bad idea at all to consider adapting the Kenobi novel for an actual movie. I mean, I know that it's not canon anymore, but certainly they've shown a predilection to looking at the old expanded universe and taking elements from it and bringing it forward into the new canon. So it's definitely not out of the question. And it is probably the one that you hear about most. Now, you have to take that with a grain of salt. The fact that the, fan clamoring is for a Kenobi movie, everybody wants a Kenobi movie, this, that, and the other. Well, that could also be a vocal minority. We don't really know for sure. And I don't know how you take an objective pulse on the Star Wars fandom to find out what really would sell. But, that's what Lucasfilm has to figure out how to do. And I think right now they may have decided, it's a little bit too close to home to be working with the characters that we all know and love, because, man, that really sets some people off in a bad way. And it's almost better that they find their own way forward in some sense. All right, now let's talk about the slightly more complicated story, and that is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy was at Cannes, the French Film Festival, and in an interview there, it was reported that she said a Lando Calrissian movie would be next on the docket for Lucasfilm. Now, it turns out that that is a misunderstanding between the reporter and Kathleen Kennedy, as reported by both the magazine that she was being interviewed by and by Lucasfilm itself. So what really went down was the fact that she said it would be fun to see another Lando movie and it would be fun to see a Han and Chewie movie, but she never said that either of those particular options were going to be what's coming next. And the thing we talked about yesterday with Alden Ehrenreich being signed to 3 movies with Lucasfilm, that only adds fuel to the fire when you hear a comment like this from Kathleen Kennedy being misreported and whatnot. But we have to understand that this is a business. Lucasfilm is running a business. And so as much as any of us might want a Kenobi movie or a Lando movie or a Han and Chewie movie, this is going to be a business decision. They have to see how Solo: A Star Wars Story works out. And, the whole Lando movie situation, well, that clamor hasn't really been building until that moment where we saw Donald Glover standing there in his wicked cool fur coat in that first footage we got to see from Solo: A Star Wars Story. So, that moment, that's when the Lando talk really ramped up. But the Kenobi talk has been going on for quite a while now. So, I still think that it's a really up in the air situation as to what's going to be next. But I think one thing we can say for sure is that if Solo: A Star Wars Story doesn't do well at the box office, then there's not going to be much momentum behind a new Han and Chewie movie or a new Lando movie or anything like that. So that means that if you want to see a Lando movie, if you want to see a Han and Chewie movie, another one, well, you're going to have to vote with your wallet when Solo hits theaters in just a few short days. So just keep it in mind. As far as Kenobi goes, well, I guess it's time to start the online petitions and the letter writing campaigns and whatnot, because maybe that will move the needle for you. All right, I'm going to take a quick break and then we will do Last Jedi trivia. Stay tuned. Hey, Rebel Rouser. May the 4th is Star Wars Day, and it's also the date of our 1400th episode. So to celebrate, all during the month of May, you can get the unofficial Star Wars The Force Awakens trivia book for just $7.77. That's whether you pay in dollars, pounds, or euros, just $7.77 at sw7x7.com/TFA for the US version of Amazon, or just search for the unofficial Force Awakens trivia book on any European version of Amazon. Welcome back. All right, so last time I asked you why Poe Dameron had to keep stalling General Hux, and that was for that booster to charge up. And today's question for you is, what is the name of that booster? What is that thing called? And that's going to do it for today's podcast, with the exception of one last thing, which is a happy birthday shout out to a guy named Brian, who is a daily listener to the podcast. Brian is celebrating his 30th birthday. And heck, what better way to celebrate a 30th birthday than to have a Star Wars movie coming out just a few days afterward? It's pretty awesome. So happy birthday, Brian, and many happy returns. And that is now officially going to do it for the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening, as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.